Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today's video I'm going to be going over my trip to Germany, to Garmisch more specifically. So I thought I'd tell all of you what happened and how it went down. This is my second video on my channel, so thank you for all of you who have subscribed and who have come back to watch this one. I wasn't really sure what to expect before going to Germany, but it ended up being one of the best trips I've ever been on because of the scenery, the people I went with, and all the activities that we did when we were there. And I got a lot of clips, so I figured I'd talk about what happened and show you them. So we set off on the train. It was only me, Jack and Toz because Reese was coming the next day. All because he wanted to watch Blink in Tottenham. It was a really smooth flight and Munich airport was amazing. Those beds were everywhere and the airport was huge. But they did have some very weird toilets. Then after searching for almost hours to find our coach, we made it on there. And we were greeted with a very nice sunset. Then we made it to our Airbnb. This was the view from the room. And then we obviously had to find somewhere to get a pint in on the first day in Garmisch. To then wake up and go for our first hike up Mount Vank. We could not have asked for better weather on this day. The hike was around 2.5 hours and the views just got better as we went up. My favourite bit of the hike has to be this massive cow field we saw with panoramic views of Zugspitz and Altspitz. And the cows were so friendly. And while we were doing this, our fourth man Reese was coming over to Germany with a massive smile on his face after Tottenham stayed up. But yeah, we eventually made it to the top and these were the views. Absolutely unreal scenery, and the selfie stick came in very handy for all of these clips. We then decided to get the cable cart down as Reese was very close. We did manage to get a pint in at the top though. I'm not sure if I need to blur that, but it's too funny not to have in. Then we found our Reese lurking somewhere in the bushes playing with the butterflies. We headed back to our house just for a little chill, and then we went to find a lake to swim in. After doing a bit of research, we came across Sea, which was stunning. It was so clear and there were fish everywhere. And then me and Jack thought it would be clever to run through here. It got a great shot, but we both ended up with a few ticks. Luckily we managed to get all of them out on our walk home, and we were greeted with this lovely view on the way back. And then it was time for some well-deserved dinner. We went for this Mexican restaurant right in the heart of Garmisch. The food and drink was unreal. I'll put the name of it below. It also gave us a great view of our next adventure, which drunk Jack decided that we would summit very early in the morning. So after having some more pina coladas and messing about, we finally set off after an hour's sleep. As you can see, all the boys were very up for it, especially Torrin. And we all learnt one thing that day, that navigating in the dark is much harder than it seems. We did make it onto the trailhead though eventually, after finding some of the sketchiest looking scrambles I have ever seen. I am just glad we made it up in one piece, but I'm blaming Google Maps for that poor direction. So even though we were all knackered, we got a brilliant view of Garmisch just waking up. And then we found a little halfway spot just to sit down and regain our breath. It's got to be up there with one of the best sunrises that I've ever seen. And then the sun started to come up, so the race was on to get to the top. And then the summit finally came into sight after all of that. But we had to stop for a minute just to take all of the views in. And then after running out of food and water and leaving Torin and Reese behind on that peak, you can just see there, me and Jack finally made it to the top. Oh my God. It felt so good to finally get to the top and enjoy what we came up here for. It was a little disappointing not all of us made it, but I'm just glad the two of us did. Also by then, the litre bottle that I'd filled up with snow and put down my trousers to melt had turned into a lovely crisp cold bottle of water, which might have saved me and Jack. And I don't even have to say a lot about the view, it speaks for itself. When we got up to the top, jumped straight on FaceTime to our parents, showed them the views, and my mum was livid that we left at that time, but it was so worth it. And then this was a needed sit down. And you know we had to get some pretty cool photos at the top. So all in all, we left our apartment at 2 and got to the summit at 6:40. Then got back to Torrin and Reese there at 7:30. And made the slowest descent that I've ever had for a mountain. We were absolutely drained with no food or water. So I was absolutely chuffed when we came down and found one of these water fountains that you can find through the Alps. There was another great view out the back of a church that was on the side of the mountain. So after getting back to our apartment and getting a little bit more sleep, we set off for Ybbsy. So after a very sweaty bus journey and a short walk, we finally made it to Ybbsy. Arguably one of the most beautiful lakes in the world. I'm glad we came today when the sun was out because it meant that the water was so clear. And after seeing all the videos on TikTok and social media, the lake didn't seem that big to me, but it is absolutely enormous and it was not too busy whatsoever. If you're coming to Garmisch or Zugspitze, you have to give this place a visit because the views are unreal. And then whilst we were just taking in the sun, these 2 black adders appeared out of nowhere, just hopefully playing in front of us and just terrorising some people on the beach. Then me and Reese had a sleep in the sun while the boys were in the water playing with the rugby ball. What a better place to do it than here. I still can't get over how pretty it was. It genuinely felt like it was something out of a movie. We then decided to call it a day because we were all so tired. Then we cooked up a storm and went straight to sleep. This was my situation through all of the nights because it was way too hot to sleep inside. And I needed that sleep because this day we conquered the highest mountain in Germany, 2,900 meters. It was a real shame because the visibility was cack, but it was still awesome to be up there. We'd been so lucky with all the other days, so we couldn't really complain, but we did still get some very cool glimpses of the rest of the Bavarian Alps. We then made our way down to the glacier and had some real fun in the snow. Jack made himself look like a right fool on the free sledges that they had. But yeah, it was real good fun playing about in the snow. You can't beat a bit of snow. We couldn't help ourselves but get some awesome photos as well. And we took advantage of the soft snow and had a bit of fun with some mountain jiu-jitsu as well. Arm bars are still effective at 2,900 meters. So we got our last few photos and headed down because we had to get back for the Palace game.
Jack, who are you supporting?
Palace! And of course we won. I didn't get many photos from that night because again, all shattered. We pretty much went straight to sleep because we had to get up the next morning for canyoning. I could not be more jealous of this office. These guys were so cool. I'll put their link down in the description. So after gearing up in our sexy outfits, we headed straight into the canyon. It wasn't the canyon we were expecting to get in, but it was so cool and so cold, and we nearly lost Reese, so I can't complain too much. It was through no fault of our own. Reese just took a wrong step and almost went straight down a massive waterfall. Luckily he survived, there he is now. And we all made it safely back onto the bus and greeted by this beautiful alpine meadow. We then went for our last meal out as a group in Garmisch, and it was amazing. There's Jack enjoying his gelato and hot berries. So then the next morning we had to pack up, say goodbye to our beloved Airbnb and jump on a bus where we found Torrin's new girlfriend who was just showing us how to stretch out after climbing all those mountains. So yeah, that was Germany. I think it's safe to say that we all had an absolutely amazing time even though we were getting each other's necks towards the end. So I hope you enjoyed that. I would 100% recommend this trip to anybody that has any sort of interest in the outdoors. If you've got any questions, comment below. I'll put all the links I can in the description. Yeah, I'd really appreciate it if you could follow and like. Yeah, I think that's it. Thank you very much.